In this video, I'm going to teach you how to corner faster on F124. My name is Brendon Leigh. I'm two-time Formula 1 sim racing world champion, and I'm going to be showing you all of my tips and tricks to try and maximize the cornering potential on this year's iteration of the Formula 1 game. So getting straight into the heart of the video, it's more important than ever, in my opinion at least, to be smooth on your steering wheel input to minimize the friction caused by the surface of the tire during the cornering phase, especially in the middle of the apex. So the reason that it's really critical to be smooth is I'm going to show you right now. So you can see that we have the slide at the moment, but there's such a high friction rate in this year's game that if you have the slide and you have a bit of oversteer and or wheel spin in the middle of the apex, yes, you can correct it. Yes, you can catch it, but there's almost like this stability assist inside of the Formula 1 game that is impossible to remove. And I believe this is generated by such a high friction of the tire that actually slows you down when you have an oversteer. So I'm going to show you from the off-board camera as we're going through Brooklands, and of course the next corner is Luffield, that when I start sliding and being too aggressive on the power and expecting too much of the rear tyres in the middle of the corner, the car of course oversteers, but unlike previous Formula 1 games that you would get the oversteer, but the car would not slow down in that situation and it would be, let's say, harder to control. In this year's game, the car slows down because of the high friction rate of the tires, and it's extremely easy to control in this situation. So playing now in a full speed example from the third person camera. You can see from there the RPM, and you should actually hear the RPM drop on its rev. So this is an indication that the car is slowing down in this situation because, of course, the friction is slowing the engine down, slowing the ability to accelerate down. So I'm going to play it one more time and listen carefully for when the RPM is dropping, and this means that you're getting less power delivery to the rear tires. So you can hear as soon as the slide has been finished and I'm not sliding the car anymore, the RPM picks up very dramatically straight away and I'm able to exit the corner. The reason that this is a really important technique for you to learn at home is, yes, this year's game is a bit easier to catch the slides because of this. I'm going to call it like hidden assist with a loose quotation, because I actually don't know the back doors of the game. I don't know how it's working on a code, but I know what I feel, and it's working like an assist to try and help catch the car. Prime example here, you can see I'm barely lifting the throttle and I'm able to catch the car in ridiculous situations. And going through Stoke Corner as well, you're going to basically hear me overuse the throttle and you can hear the RPM drops, and it's so easy to catch the car that what you're looking for in these situations is that when you want to catch the slide of a car, I'm going to pause it and explain it, then show you in a full speed example after, you're going to hear the RPM drop very, very subtly, and then you're going to have the snap of oversteer. So playing it in full speed. So what you're going to hear, and especially on the onboard, it's more prominent, so we'll use that as well for the second example. Just before the car is going to lose control from the rear axle, it will drop its RPM because of the friction of the rear tires, well, the tires in general, not just the rear tires. And like I say, the loose quotation of the stability control, what I'm going to refer to it in the future part of this video. So like I say, with a hidden stability control, you're going to basically hear that the rear axle is going to be sliding due to the fact that the RPM is going to drop very, very marginally in the car, and you can hear that audibly or on the steering wheel RPM as well. And then you have the big snap of oversteer. So let's play this carefully, and yeah, you're going to hear from the onboard. So yeah, listening carefully, you can hear a very slight change in the RPM tone just before getting the snap of oversteer. So you can use that to your advantage as well. And you can see right now, I'm actually full speed on the throttle. Of course, you can't see the HUD, but if you go back in the video and see when I was actually driving live, you're going to see that I was full throttle at this moment. But even still, full throttle should mean that I'm at least stable on the acceleration, if not gaining speed. Whereas you can see right now, even though I'm having a big snap of oversteer and sliding while still being full throttle, the car slows down from about 157 miles an hour all the way down to, let's see, when we finish our slide, 125 miles an hour. So I've lost 50 miles an hour while not even using the brake pedal, and this shows how extreme and how powerful mastering to not get this friction from the rear tires while cornering is, basically. And there's a huge part of this year's game about just going through the corner and trying to avoid what I would call the hidden stability control. Again, in loose terms, so I don't actually know what's happening with the code of the game. But that's what I feel as a driver, and I think other drivers from like the top, like esports as well, are feeling the same thing, and other people have mentioned it as well. So you really have to drive in a way that you're trying to avoid that happening in the corner. So as you're going to see me going through Brooklands and Luffield right now, I really focus on stability and keeping the car calm in the middle of the apex, and then starting to build up the power, never getting that snap of wheel spin in the middle of the apex, and always kind of driving it 2-3% under the limit to make sure that the friction of the tire isn't overpowering the ability to accelerate in certain situations. This is also very powerfully used through Mags and Beckett's, so I'm going to go flat out all the way through here. So I'm going to lift my foot off the brake pedal, and you can see just by turning the wheel really aggressively, and of course we had the spin because we touched the grass on the exit, but to show how powerful the friction is, we did not even touch the brake pedal and we stayed 100% on the power. And just by turning the wheel aggressively, we're going to go in cockpit camera here. So before turning into the apex, we're at 170 miles an hour. So again, bear in mind I keep full throttle through here. Before we have the snap of oversteer, let's make it more fair. So before we touch the grass on the exit with the snap of oversteer, we're 128 miles per hour. Wow. So we've gone from 170 miles an hour to 128 miles an hour just by using the friction of the front tire. I think that tells you enough about how powerful this mechanism is to use at your disposal. In time trial, often people were seen like really aggressively throwing the axle of the car into the apex to exploit this, basically. And you can't really do this in career mode, GP mode, and online mode as well. So yeah, this has been a lot of talking about the friction of the tire and how you can go faster through the apex, and why sometimes you might feel like you're not improving, quite simply because of this hidden stability control that I would call it inside of the game, that is limiting your ability to get acceleration out of the corner just by having such a high friction rate from the car. I'm going to now show you some examples of me driving around the track and how I'm looking to try and maximize my situation going around the corners, so hopefully this can help you as well. Now that I've done the long-winded explanation, got my words out eventually, I can now show you how I'm looking to attack the track and how I can maximize the scenarios as well to employ the maximum lap time potential available. So going through the corner again, you can see I'm really smooth with my input, just trying not to slide the car in any situation and keeping the car calm, composed, and really ready for the situations that might be unfolding during the apex. Again, smooth in, really gradually building up the steering lock as we go into the apex, and all the way through the middle, start applying the power, and then back to the apex as well. Minimizing any chance for wheel spin, snap oversteer, because as I talked about previously, having those bits of wheel spin can be destroying to your lap time. So for me, especially in GP mode, especially in online mode where tire temperatures are enabled and you can be league racing or whatever your scenario might be in a competitive environment, it is simply all about being smooth on the steering wheel and minimizing the scrub from the tires in the corner. And that, for me, is how I can maximize my lap time potential. As you can see there, big snap oversteer and instantly lost a tenth on the exit of the corner just due to the lack of momentum because of the sliding from the tire. we're going to do another lap here, and there's something to talk about. And the reason that I'm driving off the racing line is because on this year's game, for some reason, I'm not really too sure why this happened, and why it wasn't picked up in testing, to be honest. Basically, when you drive on the actual racing line, and I've driven Silverstone in real life, I've done a 24-hour race here, and I've done multiple days of testing here, it's so bumpy on the racing line that you automatically lose a tenth by just driving in certain places of the track. What's a bit strange to me, to be honest. It's especially bad down this straight, so now I'm going to drive to the inside of the track here, and you're going to see how much time I'll lose. Look, the car is bouncing and I lose 3 tenths down the straight. What I don't really understand, but that's also why I'm driving off the racing line in many situations, and why esports drivers are taking very, very weird racing lines in some tracks as well. But hopefully that gives an explanation to why I'm doing that and staying off some racing lines. But yeah, in the key point summary for this video, it's all about maximizing your ability to minimize the friction of the tire while going around the corner, and this is how you can improve your cornering speed without triggering, like I would call, that hidden stability control assist. Almost rolled the car there. That would have been funny. Yeah, it's all just about trying to minimize the hidden stability control within the game. As I, again, loose quotations over that word, because I don't actually know the backdoor and how the coding is working in the game. But yeah, trying to minimize that friction slip of the tire, and that is how you can really maximize your lap time potential going around corners. So that's going to wrap up this video about the friction of the tire and how you can go faster while trying to minimize that. Of course, I've been a bit lacking on my tutorials and my uploads recently, mainly because I burnt myself out. I was pushing so hard on the YouTube videos and everything that I just want to take a step back. But now I'm going to come back in a, what I hope to be a good way. I hope that people enjoy the videos anyway, and hopefully they find them useful. But yeah, now I'm going to come back in a way that is a bit more sustainable for me, and it's not going to be committing to 1 video per week, 5 videos per week, and just sort of upload, to be honest, when I want and when I feel like I can be creative and I can be influential in a positive way and making a good impact video, rather than just stressing to make a video for making a video's sake. So that being said, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy, and hopefully this video has been useful to you about how you can improve your ability to maximize the cornering speed because of the friction in the F124 game. And I will catch you in the next video. Grazie. That was a bit of a stutter. Grazie ragazzi, and I will catch you in the next video. Grazie. This outro hasn't been cooking. Ciao.